All right, this is where I ended the last video. We're going to continue and just do some more practice here. So we're going to move on to B. So now, amplitude is the number in front of cosine. That's just 1. The period is 2 pi divided by the number in front of x, which is just 1. So it's 2 pi, which makes the unit the same, pi over 2. So pi over 2, that's what we're counting by. The phase shift is x plus pi over 2 equals 0. We set what's inside the parentheses equal to 0 and see what the phase shift is. For really simple problems where the number in front of x is 1, it's pretty simple. You can just say it's just a one-step equation that you're solving. But it's negative, so in this case it's a negative pi over 2. And then the vertical shift is the same sign, so it is minus 1. So those two are your x and your y coordinates for your new 0, 0. So let's go ahead and write in our vertical shift, which is at negative 1. Okay, and find our new 0, 0 in a purple color here. So your phase shift, we're going from 0, 0. We're going left pi over 2, which we're counting by pi over 2, so it's just 1 unit, and then down 1. So that is our new 0, 0. So you're going to think of that. If that was your 0, 0, so there's your x-axis and y-axis in yellow, and you don't have to draw that, but I'm just showing you, like picture that in your head. In green, that's where we're going to start counting. Okay, at that point, and this is cosine, so we're going high 0, low 0. Now, where it gets tricky is this is 0, 0. This is not a point on your graph. Cosine does not have the point 0, 0 on their graph. Cosine starts high, doesn't start at 0 like sine. So our high value for where we're starting is at 1. So we're going to start, maybe I should use a different color, black. High 0, low 0, high 0, low 0. And usually I go on the other side as well. And then you draw your graph. Notice that starting point is not on your graph because this is cosine, and cosine does not go through 0, 0. It's even. So the domain is negative infinity to positive infinity, and here the range goes from the lowest y value to the highest y value. The lowest y value is, what is it? Negative 2, and the highest y value is 0. The U-try. I'll show you the U-try. If you want to do it, those are the answers. I'm not going to go through and do it. I'm going to go to example 4, but just if you want to try it, this is a good one to try. Moving on to example 4. These are the most complicated ones where you're putting it together. You might have multiple different types of shifts and amplitude change and that sort of thing. So we start with the amplitude. The negative 2 in front, the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. The period is 2 pi divided by that 3. So 2 pi divided by 3, there's your period. Now, we're going to cut that in 4 nice pieces. So if I do 2 pi over 3 divided by 4, I get 2 pi over 12, which is equal to pi over 6, right? So I am counting by pi over 6. So that's what I'm going to put here. I usually just write it once because then I know what I'm counting by. Now, to find the phase shift, I have to take what's inside of the parentheses and set it equal to 0. Now, these are a little bit trickier because you've got a number in front of x, but most of you guys could probably do this in your head. So you say 3x equals pi over 2. Now, be careful. You're dividing both sides by 3. When you divide this side by 3, no problem. When you divide this side by 3, you're multiplying by 1/3. So that equals, x equals pi over 6. That's your phase shift, and it's positive. You always need to include a sign with your phase shift. The vertical shift is at the end, or no, plus 3, right? Plus 3. Okay, so that's your x coordinate and that's your y coordinate for your new 0, 0. Should we do that now? Let's go crazy. So the x coordinate is going to be pi over 6 and the y coordinate is going to be 3. So there's your new 0, 0. Let's go ahead and put in our vertical shift of up 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So now this is sine, so we're going to be graphing usually high 0, low 0, but in this case we have a negative in front, which tells us it's going to be reflected over the x-axis. So it's going to be starting at 0 and it's going to go low first, not high. 0, low, 0, high, 0. Okay? And the amplitude is 2, so instead of going up 1, we're going to be going up 2 and down 2. So starting at our point, our 0, 0, okay, and this is sine, so it does go through 0, 0, so that point is going to be on our graph. Sometimes I put a little circle around it. If you look at the key, if you see a point with a circle around it, that's the starting point. So 0, low, 0, high, 0, low, 0, high. And then maybe the direction a little bit, and good enough. Domain, negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is the lowest y value is what? 1, 2, 5. All right, let's do one more example. These are tough. When you put this together, I'm doing this very quickly, but when I first learned this, it took me time. You might have to go back, rewind, listen to what I said again a second time. Why is she doing that? Remember how she's doing that. I'll do the other one, the next one. I've got plenty of time, a little bit slower so you can work along with me. Okay, so amplitude. Where are we going to find the amplitude? That's the number in front of the cosine. It's a 1. So absolute value of 1, 1. Period. The normal period for sine and cosine is what? 2 pi. It's 2 pi divided by b. Where's b? Number in front of x. So 2 pi divided by 2 is just going to give us a period of pi. Okay, now what's the unit? If the period is pi, we got to cut that period up into a nice even 4 pieces. So pi divided by 4 is just going to give you pi over 4. What do I do as soon as I get the unit? Write it on the graph. That's what we're counting by. Now, this is cosine. So it's going to start high, 0, low, 0. We don't have a reflection over the x-axis because there's a negative in front. So it does start high rather than low. So let's go ahead and figure out the phase shift. How do we find the phase shift? That's the horizontal shift. We set what's in the parentheses equal to 0. So we do that. 2x plus 3 pi over 2 equals 0. 2x equals negative 3 pi over 2. Dividing both sides by 2, which means I'm going to be multiplying this side by 1/2. So I'm getting x is negative 3 pi over 4. Phase shift, negative 3 pi over 4. Vertical shift. Vertical shift is right at the end there. Same sign. So now we've got our x coordinate and our y coordinate. Let's go ahead and draw in our vertical shift. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and put our new 0, 0. So we're counting by pi over 4, and we have to go to the left 3 pi over 4. So 1, 2, 3 pi over 4, and then down 3. 1, 2, 3. There's our new 0, 0. So in my head, I'm thinking there is my new x-axis, there is my new y-axis, and I'm just going to now graph cosine. Okay. However, got to look at the amplitude now. Amplitude's 1, so we're fine. We have to look at to see if there is a reflection, which in this case there is not. So we're going to start high, and that 0, 0 is not on our graph because it's cosine. So from the 0, 0, we're going to start high, 0, low, 0, high, 0, low, 0. And maybe a couple more on this side. Whoops, I'm losing. It's all good. There we go. And domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is what? Man, if we were in class, you guys would be shouting this out. And I'd be like, yes! I'm not making any mistakes. Of course, usually when I make mistakes in class, as I never teach this in videos, when I make mistakes in class, kids always tell me, and it's awesome. I think we're done. We are. All right, peace out.